Hello everyone, this is the Final Bosman, and apparently last week our website, GameTrailers.com, was simply not updating for over half of our audience. So my first question to you is, can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, good, because it's episode 100! Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and yes, it is in fact episode 100. Obviously the numbering's a little weird. Like a couple of the mini Bosmans count and the first 15s count. Look, just rest assured, the file name of this MP4 is episode 100. It's episode 100. That's reason to celebrate. And I wanted to share something with you. Before I started the Final Bosman, before I started a weekly show in which I have to talk about video games every week, I made a list of backup show ideas. So in case there isn't anything huge going on in the world of video games that week, I would have an episode I could go back and I could talk about. I ended up burning through that list within months. One idea though, that I'd never used was the Pokémon episode. I've always wanted to do an episode about Pokémon, and I know what you're thinking. 100 episodes of Final Bosman, I'm positive you've done an episode about Pokémon. I haven't. I had a Pokemon card on my desk every episode. I mean, Mr. Mime used to fight with me all the time, but never had this one dedicated to this game of Pokemon. And I guess the reason why I never did is I guess I kind of assumed that a lot of my audience would just tune out immediately, just Pokemon checked out. You know, I just kind of assumed most people didn't care. However, I mean, look, Pokemon disinterest is at an all-time low, and I figure it's episode 100. Why not? Why not finally do the Pokemon episode? And so that is what we're doing today. Today's episode, 5 rules about Pokemon that make me love Pokemon. Rule number 1, you can't copy Pokemon. So from the beginning, from Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon have always been special things. That Pokemon is unique to you. It has unique attributes. It grows in its own unique way. It knows the moves you've taught it, has the name you've given it. And that made it feel like yours. You've captured it. Out of all the infinite number of Pokemon in this world, this is the one that you've caught. This is your Nidorino. Which I realize is silly. That sounds ridiculous. That's not my Nidorino. It's as ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous when people say my shepherd when they're talking about Mass Effect. Just my shepherd is very virtuous, but can have a real short fuse when it comes to politics. Like, shut up. That's not your shepherd. That's all pre-recorded dialogue. That's not. You didn't do anything. That's not your shepherd. Another part of why I think that the singular Pokemon becomes so special is that you can't copy them. You can't copy your save file and have that Pokemon still. And if you're transferring it to a friend, it only exists through that transfer. Now your friend has your Nidorino. You don't have that anymore. This game never wants you to think of the Pokemon as data, even though they are. And I think that's very cool. The people who do in the game, they make people who think of Pokemon as data, think of them as numbers, crunching attacks. These Pokemon are the strongest, so I'm the strongest. You crush them. You destroy every character in the game who thinks of Pokemon as data. I think that's very interesting. They always want you to think of the Pokemon as living things and feel that way, which kind of leads to number 2. Pokemon is woefully backwards compatible. What do I mean by this? I mean that the games of today, Pokemon games of today, are backwards compatible with the games from 2002. It is feasible today for you to pop into Pokemon Ruby on your Game Boy Advance, a game from 2002, catch a Pokemon, name it Crackjaw, level it up to level 15, teach it Razor Leaf. You take Crackjaw, you could put Crackjaw on the Nintendo DS, and then you could transfer that into the other game on the Nintendo DS. And then you take that, you transfer that onto the 3DS until eventually you can use Crackjaw, level 15, with Razor Leaf, with its stats, in the game that just came out in November. So this character from 2002 can come into 2015? That is insane. No other game has done that across so many games. Backwards compatible. I do think it's holding it back. I think when you're that concerned with being backwards compatible, you're also limiting the growth you can have between games. But that's what Pokemon is. And also, the Pokemon Company has clearly stated that this is how it will always be. Because number 3, Pokemon are in the cloud. So, gosh, this is weird. So I think 2 years ago, the Pokemon Company had an announcement video about the Pokemon Bank. Pokemon Bank is this place where you can store your Pokemon. And the way they sold it is a developer talked about how she would be able to someday give her Charizard to her daughter. As if it's an heirloom, a Charizard. Hey, Kayla! Come upstairs, Kayla! What is it, Mama? Mama has a gift for you, Kayla. It's very important. What is it, Mama? It's a Swaylot. No, gross. I don't want this. Yes, you do. He's level 31. His name is On Fleek. It's very cute. You want this. No, Mom, I don't. Pokemon is old. I like electric guitar. No, you don't. You like my Pokemon. Take all my... No, Mom, I don't want them. And I don't want this. I'm flying away. I'm leaving Japan. You take that back. Take that back. No. I've been living under your reign for too long. I threw out my Pokemon clothes. What? I did? Well, then you should get out. Okay, bye. Pew! So imagine that whole scenario. It's just asking for trouble. But that's their dream. They want Pokemon to live forever, and the way to facilitate that is the Pokemon Bank. Put your Pokemon up here, it lives there forever. Oh my gosh, $5 a year. Rule number 4, my Pokemon are in the Pokemon Bank. All right, let's go back a sec. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, these two games, the new games, they did a kind of unconventional thing where if you do transfer a Pokemon into it, it can't go back. That's not unprecedented, but it is unprecedented within a single generation. We kind of go with it because apparently it's to reduce cheating, so whatever. You know what? You know, if it's good to take out the cheaters, it's fine. Also, yeah, you regularly transfer your old crew into the new games. You want to roll with your old crew. You like those guys. So, and girls. There's girl Pokemon. So you've transferred your Pokemon in. They can't go back. Here's what happened. I downloaded this game digitally. Because I was helping Damiani with the review, so I can't complain too much. However, when I did inevitably, stupidly, foolishly buy a new 3DS XL, I had to transfer in my old save files into the new 3DS, you know? I discovered that one game would not allow me to transfer a save file. This is, of course, Pokemon. Because of rule number 1, you cannot copy Pokemon. So, of course, you cannot copy a Pokemon save file. Also, that's not it. You also can't copy save files for Animal Crossing. They never advertise this. They're not like, hey, check out the new 3DS XL. Delete your Animal Crossing town forever. They're gone. Sorry, Isabel. I imagine the end of Link's Awakening, just my entire town just like getting ripped up piece by piece as the data's done. Oh my gosh, too terrifying. Anyway, back to Pokemon. So yeah, I had to actually do that to my Pokemon world. Rage Man, Pokemon champion of the Hoenn region, he's gone. Just the data ripped out from under his skin. And poor Grando, and Thumper, and Buffalo, and a bunch of other weird Pokemon that gave weird names. They're all trapped in the internet until a new Pokemon game comes out. Which leads to number 5. Those are the lucky ones. I had my 3DS stolen, and in that 3DS was a Pokemon cart that had all of my Pokemon since high school. From high school all the way to my miserable life in Los Angeles, all of those Pokemon gone. And I'm sure the person who stole it didn't even know how bad that person hurt me. But yeah, that hurt. I felt loss, and obviously not loss like you feel for a human or a pet, but yeah, psychological pain because of Pokemon, because of data. And that's what's so crazy is, yes, Pokemon are numbers. They're numbers associated with trademarked art. None of it is ours. But still, this one franchise, it's a franchise. It's so hollow these days. It's so uninspired and churned out and soft. This franchise is still the only thing that gets me to care about these stupid little data figures. And that is the reason why I still play Pokemon. So anyway, that is the episode for this week. That is 100! We got through it! We did it! 100 more, let's do it. Let's start next week. If you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I will be back here next Wednesday. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.
Thumper!
Juicy! Steelix sounds like. So then Mankey is grr, grr. Okay, so he's more like a goo goo, but don't do that at the end. So grr, 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 grr. Sorry, I'm figuring this out now, Omar. I realize I'm getting you good footage as I see the red light is on.